Welcome back. Seems like we were just here. How you doing, Dr. Walsh?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. It's been a while since we've joined the audience.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So I'm glad we are on. I'm glad we are all healthy and able to talk and discuss some issues tonight.
Yes, yes, yes. We wanted to just join you all just for a few moments, brief moment, just to, number one, we didn't have a chance to welcome in the brand new year for you and to really set the stage for what's up and coming in 2021 for us. We're still about the same mission, which is educating and really trying to refine your health outcomes of mind, body, and spirit to help you be the best version of yourself that you can be. So we're excited. We're excited. We have a huge lineup this upcoming year of things that we're looking to accomplish and collaborating with nonprofits. And so we want to share a little bit of that with you today. But first, we're going to kind of just touch back bases, a year in review real quickly on some of the things we covered last year and heading into this year. Dr. Walsh, tell us a bit.
Well, let me just start by saying 2020 was a doozy. I think everybody knows that. But I think if you came out of 2020, kind of intact, you did well. That was a tough year where a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost loved ones. And we saw the country almost seemingly come apart at the seams in many ways. I've never seen America so divided. I said it in a talk I gave months back that it was almost like we were headed towards a civil war. And literally, I mean, it's almost like that's almost like what happened here not too long ago. So it was an interesting year. And we talk a lot about stress. It's one of the things we talk a lot about because we're learning and understanding the importance of stress. And then physiologically, we can talk about cortisol and adrenaline and all of these different things. But it's almost as if we have a nation stressed. There's so much tension between the two sides. So we really want to, this year, we want to really push a lifestyle that, gives you a reprieve from the stressors of this world. And that's really going to be important in 2021.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we look at this, that's the key, is really giving you the antidote to all this stress. And that's really the platform that we've developed. And for those of you who've listened to our lectures, either in person or even our Juneteenth, and I encourage you, if you haven't watched our Juneteenth lecture, go back and watch it. But we speak about plantscription. And plantscription really is our prescription. As physicians, we give prescriptions. You come in to see us, and oftentimes you'll see a doc write on a sheet of paper for some antibiotics or for a medication for your blood pressure or cholesterol, a prescription for you to achieve the health. And that's what we're doing. We're giving you a prescription, but it's in the form that's a version we call plantscription in terms of food. But we're also looking at mind and body and spirit, which becomes important in this whole trajectory, because the antidote really is about, oxytocin, that love hormone. And so we want to feed you and fill you up with the tools you need to be successful each and every month, as we're going to layer in education for you in a practical fashion.
Absolutely. And we want to create community. Community is one of the ways oxytocin is released. And so we want to create community, and we just have a lot that we really want to be able to offer, especially just in the next few weeks, honestly. There's a lot that will be coming up going into February, Black History Month.
Yeah, and we'll show you an infographic a little bit later on what we have coming up, but I'll just kind of verbally go through with you. What we're going to do is, I know most people are always looking, and this year's a little weird. We're coming out of 2020, as Dr. Walsh mentioned, and it's been a little different. But typically we come into this with trying to make resolutions. We're saying, how can we change? How can we be better, as we're looking backwards and looking forward to the future? And so we're starting off next week, as a matter of fact, with really a leader inside this field of behavioral change, Sosa, Eve, the raw girl. And she really tailors food and her clients towards helping them become a better version of themselves. But really entering into February, we're doing something different. We're calling this our diaspora of disease. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you through and walk you through with some leaders and giants in the field. We're starting off with Tony Iden, who's done so much to the California Endowment Society. He's an MD, a JD, and has his master's in public health. We know we're then moving on to Dr. Keith Ferdinand, who's from the University of Tulane, and he's a leader in cardiology and has done tremendous work in preventive cardiology as well as in reducing disparities, serving American Heart Association, Association of Black Cardiologists. And so he's going to come and bless us with some information as we look at heart disease, diaspora of heart disease. And then we're going to leap across the pond and loop in a good friend of the show, Dr. Chidi. Dr. Chidi is based in London, and we're talking about the diaspora of disease across the world and really looking at how London has dealt with the struggles of COVID as well as with health disparities. And then we're wrapping this up with diaspora food. That once again, our food is the key, and our food as we know it is not the food in which we originally ate. And so we're joined by author, culinary historian Jessica B. Harris. And I'll tell you that's one of my favorites right there. She's a giant inside the area. So I'm looking forward to February, and with the things coming up then.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big February. We're gonna celebrate Black history, and celebrate it by trying to help us all make better history going forward, especially around our health, but around giving one another the power for liberation. We've been talking a bit lately about liberation nutrition and lifestyle. So how do with slave food on the one hand, but we also want to be liberated. And that's going to happen again through community and through a lot of what we're talking about over the next several weeks.
Yeah. And the other thing, just to kind of follow up along with liberation nutrition in this plantscription, is we are actually developing a companion guide for you all, an ebook right now. And so I had hoped that I would have this ebook ready to drop for January 1st, but unfortunately our clinical work kind of got in the way a little bit here. But giving you a high level overview of plantscription that we've discussed, we're really starting outside the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Your keys to success don't start inside the kitchen. We're not going to have you focus on the finish line of saying, I'm looking to reverse my diabetes or I'm looking to lose my weight. We're going to have you start focusing on the starting line, on the process, on the stages, and building foundations that will help you maintain. So we walk you through these keystone habits. We transition into methods that will help you have sustained success. And so we're excited about this project that we're going to drop on you. And like Dr. Walsh mentioned, developing this community, we're hopeful that we can push a community, that together we can all have a group, and that we move forward as we tackle these aspects of eliminating the disease-forming aspects of our day, whether or not it's overconsumption of television and media, whether or not it's lack of sleep, whether or not it's not eating health-promoting foods, whether or not it's not moving, but really embracing the things that are going to help us be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, very much so. Some of the other things we had talked about before we got on, we were really looking at the changes that are happening in America. We have our first African-American female vice president of the United States. A lot of people are very proud of that. And in this new administration, there are a lot of African-Americans scattered. I think the Secretary of Defense, I think, or one of the big defense guys, he just put in an African-American male. But we know, we want bigger than that. We really want, we want to transform our communities. We want the generations coming up to naturally produce this kind of leadership. And one of the things we're also talking about is the importance of education and blending that in with all the other things we talk about. And so some of the things we want to do this year really is also to look at how does lifestyle nutrition affect how our kids learn and how they and their ability to be successful in what can often be a very challenging world. So that's one of the things we really do want to talk about this year. We are watching all these great accomplishments and firsts, but we don't want them to be firsts and lasts. We want to contribute in such a way that they're firsts and it becomes the norm, and we don't celebrate as much because it's just the way it is.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's wonderful, and there's so much. We have a responsibility. I think that's what all these things do. I think that's where your success as a double doctorate in public health as well as in medicine and what I've been blessed to accomplish thus far. This is our means. This is important. This is our why in terms of giving back. And so we want you to encourage you not only to tap into this show, but to tap into our projects that we're looking to really expand and grow. And we're looking for our program and our journey to grow and be expanded inside 2021 tremendously. Our ultimate goal still is to have this pushed into a docu-series. We're looking towards a book and juxtaposing that with our careers and writing a book for slave food too as well, and really impacting the community on a granular level. Because remember, this message, although we tailor it, and it may be, you may say, well, you know what, I'm not African American. This message isn't for me. This message is for you. The level of stress in the United States is at an all-time high.
Absolutely.
The disease burden, we speak about that African Americans are living sicker and dying sooner, but we know Americans are living sicker and dying sooner compared to other Western countries. We know this beyond a shadow of a doubt, and COVID has really exposed it as well. So the message that we're delivering to the communities at risk, at greatest risk, is also a message geared towards the larger community. And so that's where the value lies. That's where the value lies. Yes.
And as we continue, we talk about all the things we're talking about. We were talking offline also about the coronavirus. And I mean, isn't it crazy? We have a vaccine now. We also have new strains. We're watching like records being set in terms of positivity rates, and California especially is being hit pretty hard right now, Southern California. And we want to remind everybody that the Slave Food Project and the whole food plant-based diet is still one of the best ways to tackle the coronavirus. We know that the resveratrol and blackberries and dark grapes is really good for viral infections. You know, that's something that we saw a long time ago. But we're seeing that the anti-inflammatory effects of things like onion, garlic, and turmeric, all of these things are powerful. So we've talked about this before. We just want to remind everybody that, you know, even as things get worse, we're not powerless. You know, some of the things that we've been talking about are still very valuable in protecting yourself. Even if you get it, if you have all the antioxidants, all the phytonutrients, all these beautiful anti-inflammatory natural things in your food, you're not going to get as sick. You'll get over it. And we now know, the update is, we now know that if those who do get coronavirus probably get some significant immunity for as much as 2 or 3 years, but at least for like 9 months to a year. So just want to encourage everybody around the coronavirus as well.
But you know, Eric, I mean, one of the things, I'm not sure if you ran across this study, just came out within the past 2 weeks, that showed that increased fiber consumption. And so for those of you out there, we know fiber is really found only in plants. It's not found in animal products or in processed foods. As a matter of fact, that's the way in which processed foods really is manufactured, is to take the fiber and the water out to increase the shelf life. But by increasing the fiber consumption, what they found is that increases gut diversity of the microorganisms, the bacteria there. And as a result, individuals with greater bacterial diversity in their microorganisms inside their intestines are less likely to have critical ill effects of COVID, right? So they're less likely to have the serious effects from it. If you were to be infected, you're less likely to go on. And so that's huge. That's huge. That's huge.
And that makes sense. That makes sense because when you have a bad gut microbiome, one of the things it does is it damages the gut wall and causes like a leaky gut. And so a lot of the pro-inflammatory compounds and so forth can cross the gut blood barrier, get into your bloodstream, and affect your whole entire body. And again, I keep coming back to this. COVID is the whole secret to COVID is inflammation. There's a cytokine storm that happens. So that natural diet that we talk about, the diet of the ancestors in Africa, the diet of the scriptures, really is one that is anti-inflammatory, and that's why it lends itself to beating the coronavirus all by itself.
Yes. And you know, the one thing I do want to pause, I want to thank those of you who've been following us, not only on YouTube and on Facebook, but who have been intentional in writing us. Your words of encouragement, your suggestions on future shows has not gone on deaf ears. So we are planning. Many of the shows that we're crafting are based upon your recommendations. So I want to encourage you, provide your feedback, share this. And as we're looking to embrace and spotlight authors that maybe some of our listeners are not familiar with, a doc out of Harvard, Dr. Naidu, and speaking about this is your brain on food, and we're looking at the role and relationship between food in our brain, and depression in others. We're looking at strokes, and we're looking at the gastrointestinal system, and one close to heart that we'll be looking at is really kidney failure. Looking at kidney failure and looking at the role of nutrition really in offsetting that. So we're really tackling a lot of the things that have been brought up. And not to dovetail from COVID, because it's a main central cog and piece right now, to our health professionals out there who are suffering, to our individuals like Eric mentioned, who've lost their loved ones' lives and close to them. I was listening to someone just today say that they lost someone who was so vibrant and full of energy. And so this is something that is picking folks out. And so we're living in a time that's unlike anything we've ever seen in my lifetime thus far. Yeah. So we have to prepare ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right. So this is good. This is good. So, we're excited about what's coming up. We just wanted to take a few moments out of your time just to share with you what our plans are. We will be dropping Plantscription, the book, the ebook, coming up soon. We are diving into, and I want to share and see if we can put up right now the slide that has the upcoming agenda. We are looking to go ahead and hit the slave food, the ground running. As I mentioned, on the 29th, all of our shows will be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard on Fridays. And we're starting off with Isosa E, the Raw Girl. Then we're moving on, as I mentioned, February 5th, to Anthony Iden. We're looking to Dr. Keith Ferdinand for heart disease on the 12th. The 19th, Dr. Chidi, diaspora disease. And rounding out Black History Month with Jessica B. Harris, the food diaspora. We'll also put, just for your information, we will be giving talks as well in several institutions, and there's more to come on that scattered throughout February with Dr. Walsh and myself, and really spreading this message of wellness and hope, and that there's a solution to what we're facing.
Absolutely.
All right. Dr. Walsh, I'm gonna let you end. Any last words for those out there, encouragement, things that they can do between now and when they get started up? We get started up next week.
Well, the only thing I would say is, keep, to quote old Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. It has been a tough last, almost 12 months now, when you really think that COVID hit the scene hard in March of last year, but we knew about it in February. We now know it actually existed in probably November before that. It has been a tough time, but keep hope alive. I mean, things are going to get better. And it all dovetails back into the importance of lifestyle and being healthy and having a clear mind and having a strong faith. All of these things work together to keep us healthy. And these next few weeks, I really want you guys, we're all over the place tonight because we're giving you just kind of a little commercial just to get everybody primed for the guests that we're going to have over the next several weeks. You don't want to miss the individuals that we're going to be talking with. It is going to be special. And if you're on live with us, you can put in comments, questions, and so you can actually contribute to the show as it happens. So I just want to make sure everybody comes back on. Do not, don't be discouraged. This could be your best year ever, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to empower folk to do more and better and be healthier all at the same time.
That's right. That's right. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Appreciate you. And next week, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you here. Thanks.